Recently, there have been a lot of big changes to fixed coins. I think this is a lot bigger than most people are letting on because it's going to be one of the biggest changes in the history of money. This needs to be talked about, especially when it comes to XRP. I think this will lead to the US officially accepting RLUSD and using all three Ripple, RLUSD, and XRP to save the US dollar and keep it as the world's reserve currency. We need to talk about many things. Hey everyone, welcome to the group. My name is Nick, and if you're new to the channel, you will become a member by the end of this movie. Let's get right to it and talk about some of the most recent changes I've made. As we've already talked about, Russia switched to fixed coins on August 16th, and the Russian Ministry of Finance wants to make its own crypto safe coin. This was a big deal because it shows that steady coins are becoming more popular, and big announcements like this one from Russia make things move faster. Just so you know, if you were trying to figure out when the laws about stable coins will be fully in place, they moved along 1 or 2 months faster. I think that the laws about steady coins will be fully in place by the end of summer. After that, the value of stable coins will not only go up a lot, but big banks and other big players will start using them much more quickly. Moelsning, a Dutch banker, wants to make a safe euro coin. You can see that a lot of these countries are putting their faith in safe coin projects like the EU. Some of the big institutions working on Durham safe coin are Russia and Abu Dhabi. This was a big story on the 29th. They also want to start a stable coin that is regulated by a central bank. This is also big. I'm not going to pay for this piece because I don't have any money. However, the UK just let overseas stablecoin issuers off the hook from its crypto rules. I'll get back to this one in a moment, but first, I need to talk about MasterCard. They just recently announced that they can deal stablecoins from start to finish. This is their new global method for making stablecoin transactions as easy as regular payments. This shows that the process of adopting stablecoins is heating up. Let's talk about this because the UK doesn't want to follow its crypto rules when it comes to stablecoin producers from other countries. I think the US will do the same thing. It looks like the US will not allow any stablecoins to be used inside the US. You might ask Nick how they do this. Well, they could do this for anything besides DeFi. On the other hand, I say this because Chad Steingray, who wrote about it in a report from the beginning of April. We need to protect the US dollar and bring steady dollars to the US. I really think that the XRP system will become an important part of US infrastructure. To protect against these big risks, we're asking Congress to include these helpful ideas in all rules that deal with digital assets. The first thing that needs to be done is to make safe coins stronger to protect the US dollar in the treasury market. That's what's important. Second, platforms should only do business with other platforms that follow rules against money laundering. Third, producers and middlemen should sign up so that they can be held responsible. Fourth, information should be shared freely and the public should be protected in basic ways. Fourth, make sure there aren't any conflicts of interest. Fifth, last but not least, platforms and middlemen should be required to actively look for and report scams. Digital assets should not be used in retirement plans. We talked a little about this when it was first released. But the first one is very important because of the treasuries market. Why does that matter? This was shared by ITM Trading not long ago, around the middle of April. If China sells US bonds, what will happen? It's still a big worry because they do have a lot of power over US treasuries, and they could use this to scare us with things like tariffs. We know that China doesn't like the tax game, but they've been playing it anyway. We'll talk about that in a moment, but for now, watch this movie from ITM Trading. I think they also put it on their YouTube channel, so go check it out. Do you think China would tell the US, okay, we're going to dump our treasuries in US dollars, then what should I care? They're going to sell their money to someone, we're not going to buy it. Are they going to be sold to Russia? There must be someone in the world who can buy those fakes. That's the great thing about having the world's reserve currency, and that's the one thing I think Trump is threatening. We're lucky to be able to buy things from other countries. They take our money for Nike shoes and t-shirts, things like chips. I mean, it's true that the US sends money to other countries, but it also sends goods. The US makes more things than ever before, but it also sends money to other countries. Those countries then have to do something with the money. Usually it ends up at a central bank that buys bonds, but it often ends up in the hands of other people who want to buy your stocks. Because of this, 19% of our stock market was owned by foreigners at the start of this year. Do you really think they're not taking their money out? They're losing faith, which is part of the reason for the crash. They don't know for sure what will happen. What do investors do? China may say, we're going to dump your dollars to whom, but that doesn't matter to them because they pull back, stop, or even move because there seem to be less risks in other places. They might say, forget the dollars, sell it for gold. They could put it in gold, but China also wants to buy gold, but who will sell it to them? The money still has to go somewhere and they have to buy something with it. In other words, if they buy gold in London or Switzerland, those pounds won't be coming back to the US because no one is selling gold here. A lot of these people want to say, oh yeah, we're not at all in danger. What's going on? Are we in danger with China? Additionally, I believe that China selling off US bonds is a major concern. This should make us all worry. I also believe that the US is worried about this and they plan to fight it with fixed coins. Why do you ask? This is, from Uphold. It was written by the CEO of Uphold, and then Uphold used it. We have simple coin producers that could hold more than US debt by 2030. They could even hold more than Japan or China. With decentralized finance and centralized security, the future of money is becoming more and more real. And this shows that by 2030, it's possible for people to make simple coins to own more than $1 trillion, 0 cents in US treasuries. This would be more than the biggest sovereign holder right now and a new high point for government debt. It's also pretty crazy because we're only at about $120 billion, 0 cents right now. That's a 10-fold increase in just 5 years. I think that's very likely to happen. In fact, it might happen right away instead of later because steady coins are becoming more popular and growing quickly. I just showed you all these new stories. Just think, those are just a few stories about stable coins. There are probably 5 or 10 more like them. It's also crazy that stable coins now make up 1% of where stable coins are used by more people, businesses, and even governments around the world. The rate of growth quickly rises as more people, businesses, and even governments use stable coins.